Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? All right, listen. Being as though we were talking about the new 10 Commandments and all, okay, in COP27. You know, the globalist that gathered that recently, took place in Egypt, okay, came along with open calls for a global phase out and an eventual ban on all fossil fuels. Yeah. Now, were this to actually happen, okay, billions of people would perish. Okay, I don't know if no, I'm sure they realize that they just don't care because they're sick. They're not normal, right? They don't have the same way of thinking like we do. And a tiny failing island in the South Pacific, actually, that's called Tuvalu, and that's Tuvalu. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, okay? Made the proposition using the following quoted statement. And they said, "We therefore unite with 100 Nobel Peace Prize laureates and thousands of scientists worldwide to urge world leaders to join the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty to manage a just transition away from fossil fuels." One wonders, what does Tuvalu mean by the term just transition? Does it mean eventually, or does it mean cold turkey? Is ending human life on Earth considered by the globalist to be just the thing to do? Is that, I mean, I know that's like their end game, but this is so hard to even think about, let alone talk about, it really truly is. Because that is what, I mean, eliminating all fossil fuel usage would do. It would literally eliminate. I mean, fossil fuels are essential to not only the economy, but also the continuity of civilization itself. The current global population is far too high to be sustained with Stone Age era techniques. Okay, we're not just talking about the the invention of the wheel here. I mean, techniques like of living and growing and catching food and propagating a tiny population no greater than a couple of million people maximum would know how to go back to living in caves in the Stone Age. It's just not going to work that way. I'm sorry. They would have to scrape by and find food for themselves where they could. These people would survive. Everyone else, you're pretty much gone. And that's not even an exaggeration. Okay? But they wouldn't be going out and wearing, okay, remember the old cartoon from like the 80s, right? Captain Caveman, and he had the garb on that was made out of like fur or something, and he had a wooden like club, and they wouldn't be dressed like that. They wouldn't be going out and foraging their own, edibles and food and stuff like that. They would be having somebody else do it for them. They wouldn't be able to survive without us. Now, this Tuvalu happens to have, an axe to grind as the island is slowly disappearing. It is unknown precisely why it is disappearing, But as is usually the case, global warming is taking the blame. Now, globalist politicians insist that human activity like growing food, driving a car, raising livestock are causing planetary temperatures to rise, which is in turn causing ocean levels to rise and flood countries like Tuvalu. Now, if growing food, okay, like having a garden or farms, is causing planetary temperatures to rise, then how about the elites stop eating salads and vegetables and things like that? Yeah. And having livestock, really? Then they're not going to be able to have their $150 steaks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, the United Nations, which is one of the hosts of the COP27, COP27, seems to be in agreement that fossil fuels should be eliminated, even though it has never conducted a cost-benefit analysis on the prospect. And let's just, for shites and giggles, let's just assume, without any evidence, that Tuvalu could be saved by erasing fossil fuel use from the global economy. Okay? Would it really be worth it if, say, 2 billion people elsewhere have to perish in order to make that happen? I don't think anybody should lose their lives, but I understand that, like, members of Gilligan's Island, okay, this is literally just putting out there. The members of Gilligan's Island have formed a strong attachment to their home, but if I had to choose between sacrificing a strip of land or saving 2 billion people, I would go with the latter. And that's not my words. That's from an article that I got that from, okay? The reality, though, is that Tuvalu's fate is just the cover story because they have to have their shiny object. They have to have their example to show you this is what's happening. This is what global climate change does, right? They have to have their sacrifice to show you this is what's really happening. That's why we have to do what we're doing and blah, 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 okay? Now, the reality is that Tuvalu's fate, like I said, is just the cover story for a global depopulation plan that is being disguised as well as meaning efforts to fight this climate change. And this is the simplest and most straightforward, to the point explanation as to what is exactly going on here. And they don't like that the plebes are using their air, their fuel, their farmland, their food, their water, and if you were to look at the dollar, it's theirs as well. Half of the planet will die in 6 months if fossil fuels are banned. That's it, plain and simple. And that's their goal. Now, there was a published article back in 2018 confirming that Tuvalu is not, in fact, completely shrinking, as was claimed by this COP27. To the contrary, Tuvalu is growing in size, which they're not hiding their intentions. And it completely debunks the anti-fossil fuel narrative. These people are seriously not hiding anything. But it just shows how the globalists now operate right in plain sight. The green agenda is all about depopulating the planet. And they have to show example. Even though it's not an actual example, but they have to make it look like an example. Does that make sense to you? These people, I'm telling you, it makes me sick. It really does. Now, I just looked up more about Tuvalu, okay? It's in the South Pacific. It's an independent island nation within the British Commonwealth. It's 9 islands comprised of small, thinly populated atolls and reef islands with palm-fringed beaches and World War II sites. Off of Funafiti, which is the capital, the Funafiti Conservation Area offers calm waters for diving and snorkeling among sea turtles and tropical fish, plus several uninhabited islets sheltering seabirds. The population as of 2021 was 11,925. They use US dollars. Gross domestic product is 63.1 million. The official language is Tuvaluan and English. So, I'm looking things up right now, and I don't see anything about any kind of shrinkage. Just saying. It's a hot tourist spot, I will say that. Because the first thing that pops up is like traveling the unique coastal and beach inspired furniture, accessories, and lighting tables and dining accents and this and that and the other, and wiki travel and the islands and Commonwealth Secretariat, and I don't see anything about any kind of shrinking or, yeah. Because I wanted to look that up just to be on the safe side, you know, with facts and all. Nothing. Okay, really quick, I did find something. It does say, why is Tuvalu the least visited country? The only airport in Tuvalu is on the main island of Funafuti. Second, its own population is dwindling. And the UN, okay, the UN has it listed as one of the islands most likely to disappear into the ocean in the 21st century, along with 13 other countries. And that was of March 25th, 2022. So the UN said that. They're the only ones to say that. But if you look anywhere else under any other article, it doesn't say that. So they're the only ones saying it. So if they're the only ones saying it, then I'm sorry, but I'm not buying it as being true. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one, okay? I appreciate you. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.